مرحبا وأهلا وسهلا فيكم. Welcome to another session of learning Levantine Arabic phrases. And in today's session, we'll be learning 11 phrases on how to construct or form more phrases to make a decision or decision making in Levantine Arabic. We've got a number of phrases for you, so hopefully you'll find them helpful and useful. Let's start. Our first phrase is عم شاور عقلي. عم, which is the equivalent of ing in English. Shower, which is to debate or consult. So shower, which is to consult or debate. عقلي, which means my mind. So عقل is mind, and which means my. So altogether, عم شاور عقلي, I am debating it, or I'll think about it. عم شاور عقلي. عم شاور عقلي. Our next phrase, ما عم اقدر حكم عقلي. ما عم اقدر, I am not able. حكم, to make up mind or to make a decision or judge. عقلي, which means my mind. ما عم اقدر حكم عقلي, which literally means I cannot make up my mind. So somebody who's indecisive. ما عم اقدر حكم عقلي. ما عم اقدر حكم عقلي. So again, this phrase you would use when you are trying to convey the meaning of that you can't make up your mind, you're a little bit unsure or uncertain, and perhaps you could think about it later. So ما عم اقدر حكم عقلي. By the way, as we're here, if you're enjoying these session and find them helpful, then definitely consider subscribing, as you will always be notified if similar content is being uploaded online. And don't forget to whack that like button, as it helps the channel and this video quite a bit. Thank you. Our next phrase, محتار. محتار. محتار, and that's if masculine talking or talking to masculine, addressing a masculine. محتارة, if feminine talking or addressing a feminine. محتار, محتارة. So you could say أنا محتار. أنا محتار. So for example, you could say أنا محتار بموضوع السفر. I'm a bit confused, or I'm a bit bewildered or puzzled about traveling. Perhaps you're not sure and you're thinking about it. So محتار, محتار. And similarly has the same meaning. One here is for masculine and one here is for feminine. محتار, محتارة. Our next phrase, بفكر بالموضوع. بفكر بالموضوع. بفكر, which means I think. B, which means in. الموضوع is the topic or the subject, which means I'll think about it. بفكر بالموضوع, I'll think about it or I'll take it into consideration. بفكر بالموضوع. بفكر بالموضوع. I'll think about it or I'll take it into consideration. Our next phrase, غيرت رأيي. غيرت رأيي. So the letter غ is similar to the French R, like in bonjour. Bonjour. So Paris. So غير. غير. And then the R here, it's pretty much the same as the Spanish, Italian, or in fact Arabic R. So it's the one that you roll your tongue. غيرت رأيي. غيرت رأيي, which means I've changed my mind. غيرت رأيي, I have changed my mind. I'd like to highlight where you don't see any mention of masculine, feminine, then the phrase, as similar to the one here you see in front of you on the screen, is for both, for masculine and feminine. Otherwise, if there is one for masculine and feminine, I will mention it. But if I don't, then the phrase could be used for both. Our next phrase, قنعتني. قنعتني, talking to masculine. قنعتيني, talking to feminine. قنعتني, قاف. قنعتني. 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 قنعتيني. 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 Also, you might hear that in dialect, people tend to pronounce the letter qaf as the glottal stop. So So you would hear people say anatini, or for the masculine, in fact, here you would say anatni, anatni, anatni. And if you're talking to feminine, you would say anatini, anatini, anatini. Either of the pronunciation is absolutely fine. People will 100% understand you whether you say qanatni, qanatini, or anatni, anatini, which means you have convinced me. So the first one is for masculine, or talking to masculine, and the second one talking to feminine. So if somebody's talking to you and they're trying to convince you about a topic or a subject or something, then you'd say, yeah, you've convinced me, so now I'm on your side, or I get what you say, so now you've made up your mind to what to do. So you would say قنعتني, قنعتيني. Moving on, our next phrase, ماني ندمان ع قراري. ماني ندمان ع قراري. Mani, I am not. Nadman, regret. ع, which means on or about. Qarar is decision, and E, which means my. Mani nadman ع قراري, I do not regret my decision. Mani ندمان ع قراري. ماني ندمان ع قراري, I do not regret my decision. And this is if masculine talking. ماني ندمان ع قراري. However, if feminine talking, you would use the same phrases, but you will replace ندمان with ندمانة. ندمانة, because these are both adjectives. So if feminine talking, she would say ماني ندمانة ع قراري. ماني ندمانة ع قراري. ماني ندمانة ع قراري, I don't regret my decision. So again, if masculine talking, you would say ماني ندمان ع قراري. And if feminine talking, you would say ماني ندمانة ع قراري, which translates as I don't regret my decision. Our next phrase, we say على كيفك. على كيفك. If you're talking to masculine, so you'd say على كيفك. على كيفك. And if you're talking to feminine, you would say على كيفك. على كيفك. So على, which means on, and كيف, which means taste, and the ak if you're talking to masculine. And on the other side, here on the left-hand side, ek is when you talk to feminine. So when you talk to a masculine, say على كيفك, which means as you like, or it's up to your taste, and it's up what you would go for, or something what you would normally like. And on the other side, it's the feminine, so you'd say على كيفك. على كيفك. على كيفك. As you like, or it's up to you what you go for or what you decide. So for example, if you're talking to somebody and then at the end of it, they don't seem to be convinced, or they don't seem to like what you're trying to tell them, so you could say على كيفك, or على كيفك, which means as you like, or you're free to decide what you wish. On the previous meaning, sometimes people would say على ذوقك. على ذوقك. And that's if you're talking to masculine, or على ذوقك. على ذوقك. The literal translation for it, which means it matches your taste, but of course that's not what's meant for you here. But of course the overall meaning, as we're talking about decision making, it would mean it's up to you. So على ذوقك if you're talking to masculine, and على ذوقك if you're talking to feminine. And the overall meaning for it, it means it's up to you. It's up to you what you decide or what you go for. And similarly to the previous phrase, if you're trying to talk to somebody and they're not really listening, or they're not really taking any of the information, so you could say على ذوقك, or you could say على ذوقك if you're talking to feminine. Okay, our next phrase, أنت صاحب القرار. أنت صاحب القرار. أنت you masculine, صاحب the owner, القرار the decision, which means you decide, you are the decision maker. So you decide. أنت صاحب القرار, you decide, and that is if you're talking to masculine. أنت صاحب القرار, and of course if you want to say yeah, I'll decide, you would say instead of أنت you would say أنا صاحب القرار. I'm the one who's gonna take the decision, or I'm the one who's gonna be in charge. So you would say أنا صاحب القرار. So instead of أنت, which means you masculine, you could, instead of أنت, you could add أنا. And similarly to the masculine phrase, the feminine phrase, if you're talking to feminine, you would say أنتِ صاحبة القرار. أنتِ صاحبة القرار. You decide or you make the decision. أنتِ صاحبة القرار. And if feminine is replying and say, yeah, I'm gonna decide. So instead of أنتِ, replace أنتِ with أنا. So you could say أنا صاحبة القرار. أنا صاحبة القرار. I'll make the decision, or I will decide. So the phrase أنت صاحب القرار if you're talking to masculine, and أنتِ صاحبة القرار if you are talking to feminine. Similarly to the previous phrase, you could shorten it and you could say أنت قرر. أنت قرر. So أنت قرر, you decide. أنت قرر, you decide, masculine. أنتِ قرري, you decide, feminine. And if both of them, if you want to change it, and if you want to say, yeah, I will decide, you could say أنا بقرر, I'm going to decide, or أنا رح قرر, I will decide. And that would be the same for feminine and masculine. So you'd say أنا بقرر, I'm going to decide, or أنا رح قرر, I will decide. So the phrase goes أنت قرر, you decide, you take the decision, you make the decision. أنت قرر if you're talking to masculine. أنتِ قرري if you're talking to feminine. Great, and with this I'll end today's session. I really hope you enjoyed and found it helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, as it helps the channel, the video. For some reason, the way how it works, the more likes it gets, the more it gets recommended to other people, so everybody else can watch and find it helpful. Great guys, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you in our next tutorial. مع السلامة.